Hello everybody, it's Kyle Van Voorst with Voorst.com, and today we're going to be discussing a very important part of building a sales organization, and that's your hiring process. Let's dive right in. All right, everybody, I'm excited to talk about hiring. Always a fun time if you're scaling up a sales organization. You get to talk to a lot of people, bring on folks that you believe are going to make a huge impact in the organization. All around, it's good things on the horizon. But it can be quite challenging to go through and interview a ton of people, weed through who's good, who's not good, and make sense of all these different candidates and what impacts they can have on your organization. That's where I'm here to help, my friends. In today's video, we're going to cover the exact step-by-step process that we urge our clients to go through whenever we're hiring and scaling up an inside sales organization. This includes SDRs and AEs, so buckle up. There's going to be a lot of good things in here, and if you like this kind of content, make sure you like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel, and I'll keep making more stuff like this. All right, let's jump right in. Boom, look at me. I am in a flowchart. How exciting. Now, what you're looking at here is you're looking at a high-level flow chart of the sales hiring process that we go through. We have our clients go through as well. And it all starts right here at the top. Resume submitted. They submit their resume to you. That's usually a good start. What do you do next, right? So we always start with an email screening test. And we wrote an entire article that walks through this process that has some supporting templates and whatnot. So if you look in the description below, I'll link to that article there so you can see all of the templates. But essentially what the email screening test is they submit their application, they receive an email back that, thank you for applying, like all of the normal stuff. And at the very bottom, it says, please respond to this email and change the subject line to be your name. So that way it's on top of my inbox. And we do this because it's a special detail there that shows the candidate has attention to detail, which I believe is a very valuable trait. So it helps weed out people who aren't reading your full welcome email. And so that's the first step here. The candidate replies, that's a good thing. Yes, you go and you review the resume. No, you don't move forward, obviously. You review the resume. If it seems like there's a potential fit, then you schedule that phone or you send the phone scheduling email to schedule a phone screen with the candidate. Now, I want to highlight something here is I wouldn't disqualify too many people on the resume part. I mean, there's going to be some obvious disqualifications, but I always lean to the side of having a conversation because oftentimes someone's resume doesn't tell the full story. And if I'm on the fence with a specific candidate, I like to hear the story and see if there's something there. I'm a big believer in finding talent in weird places. And if you just throw out people because of their resume, I feel like you miss some potentially really good talent, especially in the sales role where there's a lot of learning and development that comes with it, SDRs especially, right? So it's something to keep in mind here. Now, you deem them a potential fit, you sent that phone scheduling email, you're conducting a phone screen. You have that phone screen, and there's some questions that we walk through in the article that you're going to want to ask during that, just to get a sense of how is this person going to be as a salesperson. Are they worth continuing this process with? If the answer is yes, I always send a written exercise. This is for AE and SDR candidates. And it's very simple. Usually what we do is we say, hey, pick 2 to 3 target accounts and walk through the key decision makers and how you would frame our solution to those people. It shows that they, one, have done their research, they know their solution, right? And they got to ask questions in the phone screen as well, so they should have an okay understanding. 2, it lets us know more about how they go about doing some of this prospecting research and also positioning our offering to the marketplace. We're not looking for anything groundbreaking here. This is an extra exercise to help us get an understanding of their experience level. Sometimes you disqualify people because they put in very little effort, or what happens more often is they just don't do it at all and you weeded out somebody who wasn't willing to do the work. So I really like this step here. Now, candidate is going to reply with their completed writing assignment. Again, if you go to that article, I give you examples of all this. If you feel it was good, this is where things split off. You have AEs and SDRs. Now for AEs, we do a mock sales presentation, and it's really simple. They're just selling something that they have sold before. So there's not a lot of prep involved here, whatever company they're working at or maybe a past company. They just sell whatever they're comfortable selling. And the idea is you're going to learn about their sales methodology, how they run a call. Do they send an email beforehand? Do they follow up afterwards? These are all really important skills that our salespeople should have, and you need to be able to evaluate that in an environment that's comfortable for them. I'm not a big fan of making them learn our solution and then trying to sell me our solution, which they don't even know. So that's something that I think is important to point out here. When you send the scheduling email to schedule that mock presentation, they're going to conduct it. If they did well, they move to the main interview. So you're going to send this main interview scheduling email, and then we're going to conduct the main interview. Going back real quick here, if it's an SDR candidate, we don't have any mock presentation. We go to the main interview. Now, it depends on the organization. If you're a heavy cold call organization, I would recommend having the SDR do a mock cold call at some point here, probably during the main interview, because it'll give you a sense of where they are. If you're hiring fresh out of college, I still think you do it. I really do like mock cold calls during the interview process. It gives you a real strong sense of how that SDR is going to sound over the phone. If you do very little cold calling, you should change that. You should start cold calling a lot. But if you do very little cold calling, this is obviously less important, and we learned a lot about them during the writing exercise, so you may not have to do that mock presentation or mock cold call. All right, conduct main interview. Now, we're kind of back on track, SDR, AE, regardless, there's a main interview. And then we have this 10 reflection and then a scoring from 1 to 4. This is pretty standard. It's based on top grading. Again, go to the description. You'll see the article. I break down all of this stuff, and I give every template we use. It's a really comprehensive article, so I recommend checking it out. You want an average score between 3 and 4. Sometimes a company will put a rule in there. If anyone's a 1, they will cut it off. That's up to you to decide. I personally like that approach, but an average of 3 to 4 is really what you're looking at. After that, ask for references. I get it. They're only going to give good references, but I think asking for references is still really important, and you learn a lot when you talk to them, the references, especially around how this person should be coached and mentored. You also learn a lot based on what types of references they give you. So I do recommend asking for references. You ask, you do the reference checks. So are these good references? Hopefully, yes. And if they are, and you want to make an offer, great. It's time to negotiate. Now, SDRs don't negotiate as much as account executives do, but you should be prepared for both. If there's a range in salary, you should prepare for a negotiation. SDR roles I've found are typically more streamlined when it comes to salary. So usually I don't negotiate unless there's like a senior SDR position and somebody that is more senior and will give them that higher role. One thing to know, if you haven't hired salespeople before, is sales professionals talk about compensation. They're very open about their salary, and there's not normally too big of a disparity there. So if I'm going to give more salary to a rep, most of the time I'm tying that with a senior title. If it's a larger organization, maybe you're hiring salespeople who've been doing sales for 20 plus years, and it can be a little bit different. If you're selling into the enterprise, there might be more variability there, but as a general rule of thumb, salespeople talk about compensation, so you should be prepared to offer compensation that's more streamlined. After the negotiation, you hire them. Great, that's always fun. And then finally, you onboard them. Pretty simple from there. That's it, folks. That's the step-by-step process on how we go through and evaluate sales talent and eventually hire them. Hopefully you found this helpful. If you did, make sure you like, and if you want more content like this, comment below, let me know. Otherwise, I appreciate your time, and we'll talk again soon.